Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday edition of the Orange and Brown Talk podcast, the Hey, Mary Kay edition of the podcast. We are back from the bye week, and we've got questions from our Football Insider subscribers to get to. Mary Kay, let's just start here. Vince from Aurora, a very open-ended question that I think carries a lot of weight coming out of the bye week. Hey, Mary Kay, what is considered a failure for this team this season? A very interesting question because as we were hitting record on this podcast, we see that Josh Allen, who the Browns face in a couple weeks in a very important game, a game that I think most of us have chalked up as one this team would likely lose, is undergoing evaluation for an elbow injury. Very suspicious. These things, we know how they go. They can be very, very suspicious. So, to Vince's point, what is considered a failure? And on top of that, what does this Josh Allen potential injury mean?
Wow, that is huge news about Josh Allen. And we saw that Chris Mortensen, who is as plugged into the Josh Allen camp as anybody in the NFL, reported that he's having his ulnar nerve in the elbow evaluated. More will be known on Tuesday. And, it's not known yet if he will be able to play this Sunday or if he will be able to play against the Browns the following week on November 20th. So definitely something to keep an eye on. If the Browns don't have to face Josh Allen, it would be an enormous break. He's second in the NFL right now with 19 touchdown passes. He's fifth, I think it is, seventh with a 99.2 rating. He has the Bills right now at 6-2. He's been on fire this season. He has been absolutely amazing. They did lose to the Jets, but did this possibly have something to do with his elbow injury? So this is enormous, not just for the Cleveland Browns right now, but for the landscape, for the playoff picture in the AFC and everything going forward. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on here. And again, we should know more about this on Tuesday and what is going on with the great Josh Allen. In terms of the rest of this season, to me, a failure before the season, middle of the season, at any point in this season would be the Browns not making the playoffs because, they knew going into the season that Deshaun Watson was going to be suspended and they had to plan accordingly. They had to figure out how to make the playoffs without him for the first how many ever games. And they didn't know if it was, they probably thought it was probably only going to be about 6 games. Maybe even less than 6 games, but still, I think that they needed to have, they needed to have a plan on how to get to the playoffs without Deshaun Watson. Why? Because the rest of the team, as we had been talking about for so long, was poised to go to the Super Bowl. Now, it didn't really work out like that because the defense has underachieved, but I still say that missing out on the playoffs this year, they don't get a pass. You don't get a pass for Deshaun Watson being suspended, would be a failure to me this season.
I agree with you. And I think this I think this Josh Allen injury should serve as a reminder we don't know what it is yet, obviously, as we're recording this on Monday at 5 o'clock, but it's just suspicious, though, with the way it's being talked about. And now this report that comes out from Chris Mortensen, it's, the red flags are up. We'll see what happens. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe he plays Sunday. Maybe he's out for a month. But the point is that I think this injury just serves as a reminder. And I don't know if you remember this, but after the Browns went to Kansas City in that playoff game and lost, and Patrick Mahomes didn't play the last, 25 minutes of that game, something like that.
Yeah.
And we kind of had a debate after the game. Like, did the Browns just miss this golden opportunity? And it really feels like they did, because now we know where they're at now, and they end up, Baker Mayfield's gone, and they trade a bunch of first-round picks and give Deshaun Watson $230 million. You waste these seasons, or you miss opportunities, and you just never know. Like, what if Josh Allen is out for the season in a doomsday scenario, and the Bills were 13 seconds from the AFC Championship game last year, and they missed that opportunity, and these years turn into lost seasons really quickly if the wrong guy gets hurt. With the way this league is set up right now and as wide open as things are and with the talent they have, and like you said, they knew Deshaun Watson was going to be suspended, I don't think you can afford lost years. And so, yeah, I'm with you. It would be a big time disappointment if this team missed the playoffs.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, you are looking at so many guys in their prime. You're looking at an offensive line that is world class. You're looking at a defensive line that is world class. You're looking at the two best running backs in the league, two of the best guards in the NFL. I mean, this is a loaded team, talent-wise, a secondary that is, poised to be amazing. So I just don't think there is any excuse for not making the playoffs. But as you mentioned, man, I mean, you really, you just never know what's coming. We talk about, oh, well, here's what might happen the rest of the season. And here's what, some people have completely written off the Browns. And, they're in dire straits. It's a long shot for them to make the playoffs. But somebody was saying today in the press room, we were talking about, which I'm still here, by the way. Somebody was talking about, the Ravens have the easiest schedule the rest of the way, and they can do this and they can do that. And I happened to say, well, yeah, unless Lamar Jackson gets hurt, right? Did you hear me say that?
Yeah, I did.
And my point being, I mean, look, anything can happen with any of these teams. I mean, if Josh Allen cannot play against the Cleveland Browns and they somehow win that game and then beat the Bucs, who have been struggling, and hand 5 victories over to Deshaun Watson, I mean, look, they're right back in the thick of it, right back in the conversation. Now is not the time to completely write them off.
Okay, so that brings us to this next question.